Picture this. Someone hurls an insult at you, aiming to shatter your composure. In that fleeting moment, the choice is yours, to react with anger or to respond with grace. But how often do we let others dictate our emotions? How often do we hand over the reins of our inner peace to someone unworthy of holding them? Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." These words aren't just advice. They are a profound call to rise above the pettiness of insults and reclaim mastery over your mind. Today, we dive into the transformative wisdom of Stoicism, unraveling how to respond to an insulting person with unshakable self-control and inner fortitude. Together, we'll explore 6 powerful strategies inspired by the likes of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, principles designed not just to help you withstand insults, but to transcend them. This is not about weakness or passivity. It's about strength, courage, and the ultimate revenge, living with dignity. Stay with me as we walk this path toward becoming impervious to the chaos of others and learn the art of keeping our composure, no matter the storm. Number 1. Master the pause. The power of restraint. When an insult cuts through the air, it feels like an attack on our very identity. The instinctive response is immediate. Anger rises, sharp words are formed, and emotions ignite like dry kindling in a wildfire. But the Stoics, those masters of self-control, teach us that true power lies not in the immediacy of reaction, but in the deliberate restraint of response. Marcus Aurelius, the man who ruled an empire yet chose humility and reflection over fury, wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." His words remind us of a fundamental truth. No insult has the power to disturb your peace unless you permit it. Imagine yourself standing before a raging fire. Every reaction, every sharp retort, is fuel thrown onto the flames, making them grow larger and more destructive. But what if you chose not to feed it? What if, instead of engaging with the insult, you paused? In that moment of stillness, the fire begins to diminish, deprived of the energy it needs to survive. The pause is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of mastery. It's the space where dignity resides and where wisdom takes root. Epictetus, another legendary Stoic philosopher, emphasized this when he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The insult is external. Your response is entirely within your control. In the practice of restraint, you shift the power dynamics. The one who insulted you sought to provoke and control your emotional state, but in refusing to react impulsively, you remind yourself and them that your mind is sovereign. This discipline of pausing is not merely theoretical, it is a skill honed through deliberate practice. Begin with the smallest of moments, when someone irritates you in traffic, when a colleague speaks out of turn, or when a friend makes a cutting remark. In these instances, practice restraint. Observe your emotions as they rise, but do not act on them. This is not suppression, it is observation, a Stoic detachment that allows you to understand your emotions without being governed by them. In time, this habit grows. Each pause becomes a declaration. I am not a slave to my impulses. I am the master of my mind. As Seneca wrote in his essay on anger, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. In the delay, there is power. In the pause, there is freedom. And in mastering restraint, we step closer to the ideal of the Stoic sage, unshaken, undisturbed, and unassailable. Number 2, understand the insult. Separate fact from opinion. An insult is often a reflection of the one who delivers it, not the one who receives it. Yet, our immediate response is to take it personally, to allow it to burrow into our self-worth. The Stoics, however, encourage us to pause and dissect the insult, to see it for what it truly is, a judgment, an opinion, and not an objective truth. Marcus Aurelius captures this beautifully in Meditations. "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." Let's break this down. When someone hurls an insult at you, ask yourself, is this a statement of fact, or is it merely their perception? If it's fact, it can serve as constructive criticism, an opportunity for growth. But more often than not, insults are projections of the insulter's own insecurities, frustrations, or misunderstandings. Why then should we give weight to the opinions of someone who cannot even govern their own tongue? Imagine a mirror. It reflects accurately what is placed before it. But if the glass is smudged or cracked, the image it portrays is distorted. Similarly, an insult often reveals more about the insulter than the insulted. Epictetus advises us to detach ourselves from such judgments, saying, "What other people think of you is none of your business." This isn't apathy, it's clarity. Their words belong to them, not to you. To apply this principle, practice a mental exercise each time you're insulted. Visualize the words as arrows aimed at your heart. Then, remind yourself that these arrows cannot harm you unless you accept them. You hold the power to let them fall harmlessly to the ground. Consider this. If someone called you a thief and you know with certainty that you're not, would you feel insulted? Likely not, because their accusation doesn't align with your reality. The same logic applies to all insults. If they're false, they hold no power. If they're true, they provide an opportunity to improve. Seneca, another Stoic giant, reminds us that our worth is not diminished by the slander of others. The insult itself does not harm, only your response to it can. By understanding the true nature of insults, we dismantle their ability to wound us. We become untouchable, not because we are indifferent, but because we are rooted in truth and clarity. Let the insulter stew in their own chaos. We, as followers of reason and virtue, have no business in their tempest. Our energy is better spent on self-mastery, not on entertaining the distorted opinions of others. Number 3, recognize the source, the brokenness behind the insult. When faced with an insult, it's natural to focus on the words and their sting. But the Stoics teach us to look deeper, beyond the insult itself and toward the insulter. Marcus Aurelius, in his timeless wisdom, wrote, "Whenever someone has done wrong by you, immediately consider what notion of good or evil they had in doing it. When you see that, you'll feel compassion rather than astonishment or anger." This advice is not about condoning the insult, but about understanding the fractured humanity that often lies behind it. An insult rarely comes from a place of strength or wisdom. It stems from insecurity, ignorance, or pain. Imagine a person throwing stones at others. It's often because they are burdened by their own misery. By recognizing this, we shift our perspective. The insult is no longer a personal attack, but a cry for help, a sign of the insulter's inner turmoil. As Epictetus reminds us, when someone is properly grounded in life, they shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. Think about the last time someone insulted you. Were they calm, composed, and in control of their emotions? Or were they angry, frustrated, or perhaps even envious? More often than not, an insult reflects the state of the person delivering it, not the one receiving it. When you recognize this, you free yourself from the emotional grip of their words. You see the insult not as a reflection of your worth, but as evidence of their struggle. This shift in perspective fosters a powerful sense of compassion. Compassion doesn't mean you accept or tolerate harmful behavior. It means you refuse to let bitterness take root in your heart. Seneca reminds us, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. By understanding the brokenness behind the insult, we soften our anger and reclaim our peace. To apply this principle, train yourself to ask one simple question whenever you're insulted. What must this person be experiencing to act this way? This isn't about excusing their behavior. It's about refusing to let their chaos become your own. Picture their actions as the thrashings of a person drowning in their own discontent. You are under no obligation to drown with them. This approach doesn't mean you ignore boundaries or allow disrespect. The Stoics were not advocates of passivity, but of strength rooted in wisdom. By recognizing the source of the insult, you can respond or not respond with clarity and grace, rather than reacting with blind emotion. Ultimately, the goal is not to win against the insulter, but to win the battle within yourself. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, it can ruin your life only if it ruins your character. Otherwise, it cannot harm you, inside or out. Number 4. Strengthen your inner fortress, the role of self-worth. An insult only wounds where it finds a weakness. This is why the Stoics emphasize building an unshakable sense of self-worth, independent of external validation. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, advised, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." When you anchor your sense of value to fleeting opinions or shallow judgments, you allow others to dictate your peace. The key, then, is to root your worth in something deeper: your character, your virtues, and your alignment with reason. Imagine your mind as a fortress. A poorly guarded fortress is easy prey for invaders, but one built with strong walls and vigilant defenses can withstand any assault. Your self-worth is those walls, and each time you act with integrity, practice discipline, and pursue wisdom, you strengthen them. When insults come, and they will, they bounce off without leaving a mark. Seneca captured this resilience perfectly. You will cease to fear if you cease to hope. In other words, if you stop hoping for others' approval, you stop fearing their criticism. To cultivate this inner fortress, begin by identifying what truly matters to you. Is it the fleeting applause of others, or the lasting satisfaction of living in alignment with your principles? Reflect on the Stoic ideal of living according to nature, that is, in harmony with your rational mind and moral purpose. Epictetus reminds us, who is your master? Anyone who has control over what you want or what you don't want. The more you desire approval, the more power you give to those who might withhold it. Consider the words of an insulter as a test of your inner strength. If their words sting, it is a sign that there is work to be done within yourself. This isn't a judgment, but an opportunity. Each insult becomes a chance to examine your vulnerabilities, to ask, why does this bother me? What part of me feels attacked? By addressing these questions, you not only neutralize the insult, but also grow stronger from the experience. The Stoics understood that self-worth rooted in virtue is unassailable. You may lose wealth, reputation, or status, but your character remains yours alone. This is why Marcus Aurelius declared, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Guard your thoughts as fiercely as a general defends his fortress. Do not let the words of an insulter breach the gates. When you strengthen your inner fortress, insults lose their power. The world can hurl its arrows, but they cannot penetrate the walls you've built. Instead of reacting with anger or despair, you respond, or choose not to respond. This is the essence of Stoic mastery, to live as an unassailable force of reason and virtue, untethered by the opinions of others. Number 5, respond with virtue, rise above the insult. When faced with an insult, the temptation is to retaliate, to meet fire with fire. But as Stoics, we are called to a higher standard. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." To respond with virtue, grace, and dignity is not just an act of restraint, it's an assertion of our true power. Retaliation ties us to the chaos of others, while virtuous conduct frees us from their grasp. Picture this: you are a mountain, steadfast and unyielding. No matter how fiercely the winds howl or the rain pours, the mountain remains unshaken. This is the ideal Stoic response to insult. To respond with virtue means to reflect on what is right, not what is easy. As Epictetus advised, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. This means letting your actions speak louder than any defense or retaliation. But what does responding with virtue look like in practice? First, it requires understanding that insults are opportunities to demonstrate your character. If someone insults your intelligence, respond with patience and reason. If they attack your integrity, remain steadfast and honest. In choosing virtue, you deny the insulter the satisfaction of dragging you into their emotional storm. Seneca, in his essay on the firmness of the wise man, wrote, "The wise man is neither raised up nor cast down, for he has trusted himself to a firm foundation, and it cannot be shaken by any violence from without." Responding with virtue means anchoring yourself to this firm foundation, unshaken by the opinions or provocations of others. One powerful way to practice this is by showing kindness, even in the face of hostility. This is not weakness, it is strength in its purest form. Kindness disarms the insulter, revealing their aggression for what it truly is, an act of inner turmoil. Marcus Aurelius advised, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil. By expecting imperfection in others, we prepare ourselves to respond with understanding rather than anger. In choosing to respond with virtue, you also create a ripple effect. Your calm and composed reaction inspires those around you, showing them that strength lies in self-control, not in aggression. This is how we lead by example, embodying the Stoic ideals we strive to live by. Remember, The ultimate victory is not in silencing the insulter, but in maintaining your own peace. As the Stoics teach us, the measure of a person is not in how they act when things are easy, but in how they behave under pressure. Respond with virtue, and you rise above the insult, proving that no words can tarnish a soul committed to reason and morality. Number 6, let go. The power of indifference. The final step in dealing with an insulting person is to release the insult entirely. Clinging to it, replaying the words in your mind, or holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The Stoics teach us that true freedom lies in letting go, in embracing the power of indifference. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. These things are not asking to be judged by you. Leave them alone. To let go is to recognize that the insult is nothing more than a fleeting moment. It does not define you, nor does it have any lasting impact unless you grant it power. When you practice indifference, you detach yourself from the emotional charge of the insult. You see it as it truly is. Words, vibrations in the air, utterly insignificant unless you choose to give them meaning. Epictetus emphasized this freedom when he said, "If you are disturbed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Letting go is an act of revocation. It's a conscious choice to withdraw your attention and energy from something unworthy of it. Consider the analogy of a traveler burdened by heavy luggage. Each insult, every ounce of resentment, is another weight on their back. By letting go, the traveler lightens their load, moves freely, and experiences life without unnecessary strain. Why carry the weight of someone else's words when they have no real bearing on your journey? Letting go does not mean allowing disrespect to continue unchecked. It means acknowledging the insult, deciding how to respond, if at all, and then moving forward without carrying it. This practice requires a shift in mindset, a focus on what truly matters: your character, your values, and your peace of mind. Seneca offers a profound insight. What progress have I made? I am beginning to be my own friend. Letting go of insults is an act of friendship toward yourself. It's a declaration that your peace is worth more than the fleeting satisfaction of retaliation or the bitter grip of resentment. When you let go, you reclaim your power. The insulter's words fall into the void of your indifference, unable to harm you. You rise above, untethered and serene, embodying the Stoic ideal of tranquility. In this state, you become untouchable, not because insults cease to exist, but because you cease to care. Conclusion: mastery over the self. In the face of insults, we often believe the battle is against the other person, but the true battle is within. The Stoics teach us that power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. By understanding the insult, recognizing its source, fortifying our self-worth, responding with virtue, and finally letting go, we transform these moments of conflict into opportunities for growth. Remember Marcus Aurelius's words, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Let every insult remind you of this power. Stay unshaken, stay virtuous, and let your actions speak louder than their words. What are your views on this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I will personally read all of your comments. And if you seriously want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Stay strong. Until next time.